But we learned a lot of history, and it was really interesting to see.
So they actually, like, it was interesting to see that it was middle of winter, December, and they all walk in, this big military, basically the whole army, right? And they all walk in onto, this was farms previously. And they all walk in and they have to build these huts as fast as possible because it's obviously negative, whatever it is. It's really cold. And they also talked about the farms, the families that they own just ruins their whole crops for like the rest of their lives, basically, you know? And just how much money just goes down the drain. It's just crazy. And it's something, it's kind of sad to look at.
Yeah, so that was Philadelphia. It's a fun trip.
I will talk about this one. The student that was going to present this, they were not able to make it tonight. Something came up in their schedule. So I'll go through this really quick. The Gifted and Talented Trip of the Student Council, that's funded predominantly by a grant that Jamie Pelletier has, as some of you are aware of. This trip is the annual trip that I do in June. This is open to the entire student body, so anyone can sign up for that. With the first one that they just presented, you have to be a Gifted and Talented in the Student Council. So this was a New York trip, another 5-day trip. I had 26 students on this one. We'll just go through it fairly quickly. We did quite a few attractions. This picture right here is a group photo of a Radio City Music Hall, which you've probably seen on TV. One of the largest stages in the world, so they did a backstage tour of that and so forth. Just click through, I'll go through these fairly quickly. We did a lot of the museums. We took a cruise. We went out to the Statue of Liberty. Subway, for a lot of the students, once again, first time on a plane, first time on a subway. Some students, first time on an escalator. Okay? I've had that happen in the last couple of years. We just take that for granted. Broadway show was Aladdin, which is an amazing show, Statue of Liberty. I was actually able to get tickets to get, first time ever to get students up inside the crown. Those tickets take you about 5 months out on average. A lot of work, had to pull a lot of hoops, okay? Kind of tricky, and that's the newest skyscraper in terms of observation. That's the Edge. Of course, 9/11 Memorial, okay, and so forth. And special for some students, they were able to see Cooper Flag, NBA player, Dallas Mavericks right now, okay. They went to see him, they had to wait in line, took quite a while. And for some of the individuals older, my generation, maybe they had the Rockettes. So that means a little more to our generation probably than them, but still a good experience. And this summer, I like to do San Francisco. Right now, we have 30 students signed up, looking about a 7-day trip and so forth. So just looking to see that, make sure we're all set on allowing this to happen. This is the one that's open to the entire school, San Francisco, and it's not done by taxpayers' money. They come up with the money. I do not go through a company, as most of you know. I do it all myself, so we try to keep the costs as low as possible. Right now, we're looking at about $1,700 for everything that's put in there. Okay, same thing as what I've done in the other trips. Okay. So I do have one more item after that. So I guess at this point, do you have any questions for the students in terms of any of the trips, or any questions for me?
These are awesome trips.
Yeah.
We've done several. We're always well done, Mr. Dorman.
Thanks. Just one more item. Okay, I'm kind of being greedy tonight for your time, but why not? I think most of you know that we have the State of Maine Student Council president for all the student councils in the state of Maine. That's Aidan Sosick, okay? We also have the vice president for the entire state, which is Tobias Narana. So we have a very active student council. It's not 100% official right now, but I look like I've got someone on the national board for student council. It looks like Caitlin Terrio would be on that national board. And there's very few individuals that gets on that national board, and there's been very few from the state of Maine. By being on that national board, I will have to take a few individuals to the convention, the national convention next year. I'm just not sure where that national convention is yet. They don't release that until it is of time. So either she goes by herself, or we're going to have to send a couple students. Okay, and the cost is very low on that, and usually we can get some funding from the state, from the student council, so that's not a concern of mine. It's just that anytime that we have out-of-state travel, we have to let the board be aware of that. So I'm kind of seeking approval for the San Francisco trip, and to send a small group to the national convention. You know, not sure where that's at yet. So that's where we're at. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll turn it over to you.
So we would need to approve those trips.
that were presented.
We need a motion?
Yes, please.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Passes.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate you talking.
Mr. Seawa, they also have other obligations tonight, so they're not able to attend this meeting. I'm not sure if they may be aware of that.
They
Do
did.
have good reasons for tonight.
Yep, they did.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So Maureen Donna, that was for both trips, correct?
Mhm.
Yes.
All right, Superintendent?
I had provided the board with the main ESEA snapshot data earlier. I think I'd done it in November. And at that time, the per pupil spending was not available, and that has since become available. So I prepared just a little packet that shows you the per pupil spending in the district. The one on the cover is MSAD 27's. Your per pupil spending for last school year was $18,866. If you compare that to the next page, which is the statewide data, statewide average is 21,717. So you are falling short of the statewide data. And I also included our Valley Unified partners, MSAD 33, which is a little bit slightly higher than yours at 18,925, and Madawaska, which is quite a bit higher from that. I did look at some other Aroostook County schools. It appears that the larger districts spend less. So Prescott was a little bit less than yours, Caribou a little bit less. Those districts around your size are around that. Or slightly higher. And it seems like smaller districts who try to hold on to programming end up spending more, which is what you're seeing in 33 in Madawaska. But comparable to statewide data, you're well under what the average district is spending per student. There is a little breakdown on, what percentage of that is personnel spending. So essentially, 79% is spent on personnel, and that's where the majority of funding goes. So I wanted you to have that so that you had the most up-to-date funding data. And again, that's always a year out, so this is based on the 24-25 school year. Aside from that, you have administrator reports from Mr. Chenard, Mona, Mr. Mitch, and Ms. Stacy Sear. I do want to give a shout out to Mr. Chenard, who has been holding the fort here at CHS VRMS in Mr. Doucette's absence. I check on him every now and then, and he is yet to shed a tear, so he's holding strong.
Losing my hair though.
So are there any questions for the administrators in light of the reports? Thank you, everybody. Thank you. So,
Committee reports.
committee reports.
I just wanted to let our negotiating committee know that we've established a few dates for ed tech negotiations. We're going to start on Wednesday, April 1, and we also set Wednesday, April 8, looking at 3:15 to 4:30 on those two dates, and probably projecting going every Wednesday if that continues to work, but we're at least going to start looking on April 1, taking a look at language and seeing what some of the requests are. Lucy and I are currently looking at our draft and making notes about what we would like to bring on behalf of the board to the negotiating table.
I get it in my calendar.
I think that's it, right, Lucy? We just had the administrative support group and ed techs are the only ones this year.
Okay, items of business.
Under items for information retirements, we do have a retirement notification. You have a short email from Grace Serwet to me informing the board that she intends to retire at the end of this school year.
This is contemplating though.
Yeah, it was you'll notice the date was January 11, and when Grace finally decided, I said, do you want to send me an updated letter? She says, no, use that one. So it is official.
It's official.
Yep.
The reason they send it earlier is because in their
Yeah, I know.
bargaining agreement, we have that, a
Cut off.
deadline to notify if you want a bonus for early notification. That helps us in the budget to know early enough to plan accordingly.
Yeah.
Okay. Resignations.
We would need a motion to approve Grace's.
Oh, okay.
So moved. And I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
For resignations, we do have a resignation of a CHS math teacher. You will see a letter from Sarah Mulcahy. Sarah has, it reflects on her 8 years in this role. She did have a sit down with me and told me about the opportunity that had come up for her to teach at the university level, and not because she's unhappy here, but because this has been an aspiration for her for many years. So she will resign at the end of this year.
Sorry. Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
And I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Then you will see a letter from Kayla Myers, who is resigning her position at Fort Kent Elementary as the special ed life skills teacher. Once again, not because she wants to, but she is in a BCBA program for school psychology. Next year, she's required to do a full year internship with a school psychologist. I believe that she's made that connection in Presque Isle. So she cannot essentially work and do a full year internship. So she would need to resign from her position.
Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
We do have a few transfer notifications. The first one is from Rebecca Daigle. As you know, Mr. John Edwards left in February. We opened up that position in-house to see if there was any interest in Ms. Rebecca. Put in her name, and after speaking with Mr. Anderson about that move, we felt it was a good move for Rebecca, so we have approved Rebecca's transfer to 5th grade. Her sister is a 5th grade teacher in Madawaska, so I think they're very excited to collaborate on that. The second transfer notification is for Angela Landine. With Sarah Mulcahy's departure, we opened up that math position, and Angela requested a transfer to what we're essentially calling the Math 3 position. So Angela's been approved for that as well. And with that, we have opened Angela's position in Math 1 to hopefully attract math teacher. For new hires, you have 2 letters for evening custodians. We've had 2 vacancies, and we're not assigning them to school, although they will be assigned to schools. We're kind of keeping it open, so we're not saying one is for CHS and one is for Fort Kent Elementary. Benny likes to, if things are not working out, move and put them where their strengths are. So these are both for district-wide evening custodians. One is for Stephen Hafford Jr., and the other one is for Dawson Knoll.
Entertain a motion to approve hiring Dawson Knoll and Stephen Hafford.
So moved. And I'll second.
Thank you.
Did we need motions for the transfers?
Transfers are something I offer. It's
Okay.
not board.
Well, Becca will be amazing. So.
Yeah, she's excited. She's very excited.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Our current openings, we have our CHS VRMS ELA interventionist assistant, and that's vacant because Jessica Desjardins went to go be the long-term sub in grade 5. We do have that math teacher for Math 1, Angela's position. We have the special education teacher for Kayla, and then we're looking for a few recovery high school positions that have been posted as well.
All right, spring sports approval.
You have an updated coaching list for spring sports. The majority of these coaches are returning. Jamie Lamar will, with your approval, be the first-year varsity baseball coach, and we also have a first-year VRMS softball coach, Luis Perez. All the others are returning.
Accept a motion to approve the spring sports coaching recommendations.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Reduction in force recommendation.
So we are bringing a reduction in force, actually 2 proposals to the board. The first one is based on Mr. John Edwards resigning and Rebecca Daigle moving from kindergarten to grade 5 and Grace Sirwa retiring. Now we essentially have 2 vacant kindergarten positions, and the first proposal is to reduce the force of one of them to move 3rd grade from 4 teachers this year to next year 3 teachers. And you'll see how the proposal lines up here in the yellow for next year on that proposal sheet that I gave you. Based on our pre-K, current pre-K numbers, and moving into kindergarten, the 3 teachers would still have a ratio of 12-to-1 for next year. And we just felt that keeping it at 4 was the classes were too small. So the first RIF recommendation, it does not impact anyone's position in the district because we're essentially absorbing Mr. John Edwards leaving. So that's our first recommendation to you.
So I'll make the motion to approve the superintendent recommendation for a reduction in force in kindergarten for the school year 2026-2027.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Mr. Anderson did have good conversations with the kindergarten team. With Grace retiring and the numbers being so small, there was good collaboration, and they understood, from what Mr. Anderson tells me, they understood the need for this. It's now the 2nd year in a row with the small numbers, and our pre-K coming in next year is still relatively small as well, 41, so I felt it seems that's where things are trending.
When I was reading this as well, though, it says that like Miss Andrea Nedola-Chance was involuntary.
Yep, I'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
So the second reduction in force recommendation is for 1 first grade position. You currently have 4 teachers in first grade. Again, speaking with the first grade team, Mr. Anderson did ascertain that at least one of those teachers would not be opposed to going to kindergarten, and that is Andrea Neto-Lachance. She is the least senior in that first grade team anyway. The reason that we are doing it this way, where I am going to involuntarily transfer her, is the language in the contract is more supportive to her. By me transferring her, we get to pay her for a certain amount of days to transfer into that new role. If she would have done it voluntarily, she would have forfeited that, so I thought it was in her best interest for me to involuntarily transfer. She's not opposed.
Okay.
She is in favor of making that move and is totally fine with it. So this RIF would essentially reduce your first grade team also to 3 teachers by moving Andrea to kindergarten. And Andrea was a pre-K teacher before, so she's got those foundational skills.
I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion.
And a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
And if anyone's paying attention, that is 3 positions that we've riffed so far this year.
All right. Budget hearing. Number 2.
Lucy Tabor.
So in front of you, you have 2 little packets. I did not give you the 15-pager this time, just this more summarized version. The difference is you get the same sheet numbers. One's in black, sheet 1, 2, 1A, 2A, and the other one, sorry, A1, A2, A3. The other one is in red, and it's sheet A2, A3. And the red version is the version with the riffs.
Okay,
So
so we don't need this
I
one.
had to have both versions in case you did not approve the riffs. So we'll go with the sheet A2, which is in red. And at first read, our budget was $16,784,695. We've since reduced that to $16,668,255. If you look at the very last small sheet in that pack, you should have this red sheet G2 at the top. You've got sheet G1. Yeah. This is the side, yeah. So the changes that we've made since first read, we had a couple of ed techs that actually went from ed tech 1s to ed tech 3s. So they've gotten their certification, so that increases their annual wages accordingly. We had our administrator go through the budget sheet submitted and made some changes, so she reduced her request for professional development. She'll be able to charge those to the local entitlement fund, which will not need public funds. The teacher retirement here is Grace's position, so that's salaries and benefits for a portion of the year. Next year, that saving will be a full year, but this first year, because we have the summer pays that belong to the prior year, it's always a little bit less. We finished our negotiations with our Teamsters administrative support group. So I noticed that I had not factored in any increases in the first read. Normally I do, but this time I had not. So this is the net effect of that negotiations. Our grade 5 position with this approval tonight has been filled in-house with Rebecca's transfer. And that savings is primarily the difference in wages, plus I don't need the extra health insurance in anticipation that someone new would come in and would need health insurance. So this is a reduction of the primarily health insurance. And then the 2 riffs for, it's not actually not K and pre-K, it's kindergarten and grade 1. And we added an ed tech in the budget to help with that transition. So again, this is a partial year of 2 teachers and reduced by the need to hire an ed tech. So total changes in the expenditures, we've reduced the proposed budget by $116,000. So that's our revised budget is $16,668,000. On the funding side, on the revenue side, I had an error in my formula. I fixed it. With the pre-K registrations done, we have a couple of students that are coming in from towns that tuition in. And my first read, I never project pre-K students because I really don't know where they're coming. So that increases our anticipated revenue by $22,000. And then in the first read, this year, the state of Maine is making a change to how they're funding adult education. Previously, they funded it as part of our funding formula, and it would have a local share to it. This year, they're making it so that it's still part of the funding formula, but there's no local share. in the initial projection, they had given me a figure. I had not realized that it was for our 2 sites. Part of it was for SAD 27 and the other part was for Madawaska. So I have to reduce it by Madawaska's share. So the net change from first read is a reduction in the tax assessment by just under 98,000, which is a change in mill rate by almost a quarter of a mil. So in your packet, the last of the long sheets. So that would mean that we would have a little more than a quarter mill rate value in change from last year's budget. And the red arrow that goes up is the change at the local level by town. So Fort Kent would have a slight increase of about 5% over last year's. New Canada, 4.5%. St. Francis and Wallagrass are between 12 and 14%, and that's primarily because of their shift in valuation. They've had an increase in valuation in a bigger proportion than the other towns. So that affects their distribution of the tax assessments. And St. John would be below 4%. So this is their current position that we're at. I have not yet heard anything about health insurance and what the actual rate of increase will be. I should have that in time for the 3rd read. And I'm also keeping an eye on fuel rates and energy and the whole volatile. I haven't changed any figures yet. I'm waiting to see. We are seeing an increase in our oil prices at the school levels. Fortunately, we heat these 2 buildings primarily with our heating plant, with UMFK, which is pellets. So, but we do use quite a bit of oil for the shoulder seasons. Oil, and then our diesel fuel for buses is affected. So that will come into play in 3rd read if, unless things calm down and everything magically gets settled between now and then.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go into an executive session. We got a couple executive sessions tonight. Do we need a break before we go to executive session? Should probably take one second, back up the camera and the microphone.
Yeah.
So I'll entertain a motion to take a 5-minute recess. And then we'll go
I'll
to
make the
executive
motion.
Second? A second. Thank you. All right, we're going to be in recess for 5 minutes, and we'll come